Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before I start, I just want to say that before you decide to leave a comment or just assume what am I about to say, please just watch at least half of the video first, okay? Please, thank you. Some of my subscribers have asked me on Instagram that will they be discriminated against if they move to Norway? I of course understand why they feel concerned about it. I mean, moving to a new place is a big risk in itself. So, will immigrants in Norway face discrimination? Well, let me put it this way. Will you risk encountering bad and racist people in Norway? Yes. Are all Norwegians racist? No, of course not. Racism in Norway goes like this for the most part. Will you get harassed and called racist things against you in public, face to face? Yes, it happens. But generally speaking, open discrimination and confrontation in public, that is very rare in Norway. Not saying it doesn't happen, but rare. For example, in this case here, where a 70-year-old man harassed a young girl from Iraq, saying things to her like, "You have no business living in Norway," right in public. The man got a fine of 5,000 kroners for hate crime against the young girl, after she filed a police report and took the case to the court. Here is another case of open discrimination. A 16-year-old young girl named Paivan. She is originally from Thailand and she was working on a summer job at a hotel. A Norwegian guest said it right into her face, and I quote, that "I prefer to pay someone who is ethnically Norwegian." As you can see, open discrimination happens from time to time. Now let's move on to the internet. Racism on the internet, however, happens all the time. Like this story here. A Norwegian woman named Ramona Hargrave. She is married to a black American man who moved to Norway with her. They have 4 kids together. She posted a picture on social media with her family, and her kids were wearing Norwegian traditional bunad clothes. The comment she got, and I quote, "You are a black whore. In which zoo did you find the monkeys? Don't you care that your children don't look like you?" Yeah, a lot of nice and friendly comments, huh? But her story has a happy ending. After she told the public about her story, there was a fundraiser campaign to buy her husband Norwegian bunad, and they raised up to 19,000 kroners. In case you didn't know, Norwegian bunad is crazy expensive, but that is a story or video for some other time. So as you can see, racism and discrimination unfortunately does happen in Norway. Now the next topic I'm going to talk about, I feel this probably is the most important part, and because I believe this type of discrimination will affect immigrants the most. There is another type of discrimination in Norway, and I personally would like to call it the stealth discrimination, because it is impossible to prove and you can't always tell. That is related to the job market and rental market. The job market in Norway, a lot of people with immigrants background say they face discrimination. A college graduate named Kevin Mariana Jagan applied for a job with his real name, but he did not get any response. He has 2 bachelor degrees and 1 master degree. You will probably assume someone well educated like him will have no problem finding a job, right? His father is from Sri Lanka, so obviously he does not have a typical Norwegian last name. After he applied for multiple jobs for weeks, he failed. Then he tried again with a Norwegian fake last name called Rydland, and what do you know? All of a sudden, he was starting getting, invitations for job interviews. Researcher Arfinn Midtbøen and his team, they did an experiment back in 2012. They sent out about 1,800 fake job applications, one with Norwegian name and one with non-Norwegian name. The one with Norwegian name and the one with non-Norwegian name had the same education and qualifications. The only difference here was the name. The result was the job application with non-Norwegian name had 25% less chance of getting into a job interview. They did the same research in 2021, and Arfinn said the results were pretty much the same. Arifin researcher had this to say about the report. Why are minorities subjugated to this form of discrimination? Arifin Mitben replies that what the research shows quite clearly is that this is not an explicit form of racism or very strong prejudice. That is probably to a greater extent about unconscious prejudice and stereotypes about what ethnic minority groups can and cannot do, and which seems to be reproduced over generations and thus also affects Norwegians with a minority background who were born and raised in their country. Some of the stereotypes about immigrants in Norway are true, like immigrants can't speak or read Norwegian that well. When people who are responsible for hiring new people, it is not necessary that the motivation here is racism. Now, some of you watching probably suspect this is white people discriminating against non-white people. Well, not quite. Like I said earlier, the rental market has the same problem. A Polish artist goes by the name Sofia Ciel. She was trying to find a place to rent in Norway. Sofia searched a place to rent for months with no success and no response. Then she asked a Norwegian friend if he could check on her grammars to see if there was something wrong with her Norwegian. I told her straight up that no one likes to say this out loud, but you should probably change to a Norwegian last name. She did just that, and guess what? She got a response right away. So as you can see, this is not a white versus non-white issue. It's a little more complicated than that. And just so we're clear, discrimination when hiring based on gender, age, religion, nationality, etc., that is illegal. If you want the white companies to get away with this, simple, because it is difficult or impossible to prove. All companies have some form of human resource people who know the law, who know the rules, who knows what they can and cannot do. And if journalists ask them, well, did you not hire this person based on nationality? Of course they will say no, because if they were admitting they were breaking the law, then they will get into trouble. Now, there are some speculation from my part about reverse discrimination that I want to talk about too. I have no proof or research or anything to back this up. This is just my speculation only. Do immigrants discriminate against Norwegians or against other immigrants? When I go to most Asian and sushi restaurants in Norway, I can say that 90% of the people who work there are Asians. Of course, a lot of Asian restaurants are run by family business, so it kind of makes sense in its own way. Same with Indian and Middle Eastern restaurants, because most of the people who work in these places are usually from India or Middle East. And I have never seen a white Norwegian work at these places before. Of course, I could be wrong, just so that we're clear. Does that raise the suspicion of immigrants might be discriminating when they are hiring people based on gender, age, nationality, skin color, etc.? Well, since there are no evidence to prove it yet, it is hard to say. However, if you ask the immigrant boss if he would like to hire an ethnic Norwegian in their business, I personally suspect they are going to say no, and they will probably say that no, I will probably want to hire somebody from my own country. Most of the time when immigrants bosses want to hire new people, they don't put on public websites like Finn.no. My suspicion is that they only hire people through connections and people they know through their own circle. I know, for instance, like most Chinese restaurants here only hire Chinese people, like 95% of the time. Maybe they hire their son or daughter's friend for a summer job. Immigrants probably won't hire a white Norwegian for multiple reasons, and that is also discrimination and illegal, by the way. Thank you all for watching again, and I'll see you next time.